This is our shrining moment. Let's go over to folks at Moxfield to be able to explain what we're talking about. This deck is called Shrining Moments. Why? Because we're about shrines. That's right. We are not rocking out the 5-color old shrine deck. We got go-shintai's Life Origin. Costs us 3 and a green for a 4/3 legendary enchantment creature shrine. So the big thing about shrines is that they're not a creature type. So if you have a changeling, it still doesn't count towards a shrine because they're technically an enchantment type. So that's where we're going to be having a little bit of fun. Back over to go-shintai here is we can pay a red, white, black, red, green, tap it, and we could return an enchantment card from our graveyard to the battlefield. And whenever go-shintai or another non-token shrine enters the battlefield under your control, you get to create a 1/1 colorless shrine enchantment creature. Solid way to be able to build it. However, this is going to be one of the more complicated decks that we end up having with that. We kind of went with an Enchantress build that comes over with this deck. Also, we have a couple different alternate win cons that can end up coming out of the deck as well. So we're rocking 5 colors because with this having 5 different colors right here, it makes it a 5-color commander. So I normally would go over to the lands first, so let's cover that over because that's where we have an alternate win con as well into the deck. We have 37 lands. We have an Arid Mesa, Azorius Guildgate, Baldur's Gate, Ballistic Gate, Ballast Gate, Black Dragon Gate, Boros Guildgate, Citadel Gate, Cliff Gate, Command Tower, Demir Guildgate, Flooded Strand, a forest. How many of those bad boy forests we have? We have 3 of those all together. We have a Gateway Plaza, a Gagari Guildgate, a Gruul Guildgate, a Heat Gate, an island, which we have 1 island. Is it Guildgate? A Jetmir's Garden, a Manor Gate, mazes, and here's that other alternate win con that we have. We have it where we could pay 3, tap this, and its owner, it goes back to our hand, but we get to search for a gate card and put it on the battlefield. If you control 10 or more gates with different names, you win the game. So it's an alternate win con that we have built into the deck. That's why we have so many gates that's in this deck. We have a mountain. We have 1 mountain, Orzhov Guildgate, 2 plains, Plaza of Harmony, Rafing's Tower, Rakdos Guildgate, Seagate, Selesnya Gate, Simic Gate, Sparrow's Headquarters, a Lonely Swamp, World Tree to make it all different colors, and finally, but not least, is Then Portal. So we have the heavy gates, we have an alternate win con that's actually in the lands, so it gives a little bit of spice into this deck. Next up is enchantments. Like I said, we made this into an enchantment or enchantress deck. That means whenever we play an enchantment, we'll be able to draw a card. So we're heavy on the enchantments. We got 29 altogether. We have Abundant Growth, Carpet of Flowers, Celestia Dawn, which is an interesting card because all of our lands tap for a plains, and we can play non-land cards could be tapped and be played for a plains instead. Crackling Perimeter, Darksteel Mutation, Enchantress Presence, Fertile Ground, Ghostly Prison, Haunted of Cleansing Fire. It's a shrine, so that's where we're going to be playing into the shrine thing. Haunted of Infinite Rage, Haunted of Life's Web, Haunted of Night's Reach, Haunted Seeing the Winds, Imprisoned in the Moon, Canvas Transformation, Overgrowth, Privileged Position, Propaganda, Sanctum of All, another good old shrine, Sanctum of Calm Waters, Sanctum of Fruit Harvest, Sanctum of Shattered Heights, Sanctum of Stone Fang, Sanctum of Tranquility Light, Smothering Tide, Sphere of Safety, Sterling Grove, Trace of Abundance, and Wild Growth. So this is going to be a nice way we can end up breaking down a couple different things. So shrines trigger off at different times that it goes over with it. This one, it's at pre-combat. So before we go into combat, it's going to be that main phase. So it's going to be our first main phase that we end up having. This will end up triggering. And then I believe we have the Hondens right up here at the beginning of your upkeep. So this is going at your upkeep. Opponents discard a card for each shrine that you control. So we got something that's going to be at the beginning of upkeep. So that's right off the get-go. Our first main phase. And, well, we might as well go right here over into the creatures. We have Ancient of Erebos, Corsair Crufix, Doom Waker's Giant, Dryad of the Elysian Grove, Eidolon of Blossoms. This is another one of those. This is that Enchantress build, I would say, because this will allow us to draw a card for each enchantment that we play. go-shintai of Ancient Wars. So this is another one that goes over with it. And this goes off of our instep. So we have a pre-upkeep, a first main phase, and then at their instep, we'll be able to have this one trigger. go-shintai of Borderless Vigor, go-shintai of Hidden Cruelty, go-shintai of Lost Wisdom, go-shintai of Shared Purpose, a Grim Guardian, Juruku Nostulus, Sanctum Weaver, Sensei Weatherlight Captain. This allows us to be able to tutor up for any of the shrines that we end up needing. Sethis, Harvest Hand, is another one of those enchantress that lets us draw. This gives +1/+1 to our non-enchantment or our enchantment creatures. So that's going to also help out. And then we can copy a target artifact or trigger ability that you control from an enchantment source. You may choose new targets. So that means we could be able to charge new targets that's going over with our shrines. And that was 16 of those guys. So we have 12 sorceries. We have Brilliant Restoration to bring our stuff back. Circlist Route allows us to be able to ramp. Farewell gets rid of stuff or exile stuff. Idyllic Tutor lets us tutor. Open the Gates lets us look up for our basic gate. Open the Vaults lets us bring back all of our artifacts and enchantments. Resurgent Belief is another way that we can end up bringing back enchantments from the graveyard. Search for Glory is a way we can end up looking for our enchantments. Supreme Verdict is wiping out our land. Or wiping out. It's a nice little board wipe. Sylvain's Scrying is another way to be able to mana fix. Vanquished Herd is another way to be able to get a nice board wipe. War Gate's another way we could end up tutoring. Then we have 3 instances with Beast Within, which is any permanent. Borrow's Charm, mainly to make indestructible. Generous Gift, again, taking out stuff. And then we have 2 artifacts. We have Amulet of Vigor. Whenever something comes into tap, it comes into play untapped instead. And Timeless Lotus enters the battlefield tap. And then we can tap it, add Uberg. And if you don't know what Uberg is, it's white, blue, black, red, and green. So we get to tap all the colors of the mana circle. So that's the deck. It's going to be a complicated deck, and it's going to be very complicated because you got to keep up of which shrines you have and when they end up triggering. And it ends up taking all these shrines to keep on counting for everything else that we end up having. So you got to make sure that you have it figured out which ones that you have. Because like I said, we have a upkeep one, a first main phase one, and then an end step. So we have 3 different shrines that triggers at 3 different times. So that's going to be something that's going to be a little bit complicated to be able to keep up with. So without further ado, let's switch over to the regular cam and give our final thoughts about the deck. So it's a more complicated of a deck, like I said, because we have to keep up with the 3 different phases that we end up having for the deck. But however, it's kind of a fun, pillow forward deck where you can end up having this big old shrines that comes over with there and just amass a bunch of times to make it, or amass a bunch of things to have a bunch of triggers that comes off the shrines that you have. You have a bunch of recursion that also helps out with it. You have card draw that's coming over with the other enchantress's presence that you end up having in the deck as well. And some of the shrines you gotta be careful because you can tend to mill yourself out if you're not very careful, or if you're not careful enough with that. Have you played shrines? Let us know down in the comments down below. Also, if you're liking the content put out, hit that little bell to be notified whenever we come out with new content. And ha! I just realized I left the organic price books banner on with this video. So I guess I might as well say, if you're going to go over and buy your comic books, graphic novels, or stuff like that, go visit our Grant Price Books. I know it's kind of random to have that because we have an affiliate code. Because we have an affiliate code with them. That's a fifth of Jack, all spelled out. It saves $2 off. And if you get 4 or more books, you can get 5% off with Jack It Together instead. Thank you for watching, and until next time, we'll see you guys later.